Okay, this video is going to be about mirrors. I was watching a movie and I was super fucking bored. And sometimes Netflix will refer you to a movie, and I was like, out of all people, why Adam Sandler? I ended up watching a movie. It was pretty interesting. It's called The Cobbler or whatever. That's somebody who fixes shoes. And in the movie, there's a part where his mother died and the whole house was covered. The mirrors were all covered in the house. So I decided to look into that, and I came across some light codes. Now, this is called, it's when someone is mourning a person that has transitioned, they cover all the mirrors in their house. And it's called Shiva, Shiva. And I just thought that was interesting in the movie, so I had to pause it. And I was like, why do, the Jewish people cover their mirrors after someone dies? Just to see if it was like something that they really do. And it is. So I'm going to get into it. Now, the reason why it's an old Jewish custom in a house of mourning, the mirrors are covered. This tradition is generally observed by most mourners from all the religious spectrum. Yet the purpose of this custom is rarely understood. Okay. It is a very deep and important lesson, and is given to the mourner and to us also. Okay, first let's understand the normal usage of a mirror. Why does a person use a mirror? Normally, it is to see his or her reflection in it. People use a mirror to check their appearance, to see how they look, so that they may look pleasing to others. A mirror is more than just a symbol of vanity. It is an object that focuses on the most external aspect of a person, basically your avatar. When they look into the mirror, it is because they are concerned about their external appearance. Life is supposed to be concerned with the internal essence. How people look, the shape of their nose, the color, amount of the hair, etc., has been given to people by their maker. We really have very little control over that. What we are doing, and what we have done is what we are really about, and on that we do some ability to shape our life. Now, I'm going to cancel that. We do have control over that. So cancel. Okay, let's move to the next one. When people must sit Shiva in the house of mourning, they are in the essence of paying their respects to the deceased. Shiva is a week that is given over to the mourning. Hold on, I lost my space. I always got to pick a page with tiny writing. Shiva is a week that is given over to the mourning, the deceased. They do not work during that week. They do not indulge in luxuries. They reflect on the merits and deeds of the person who died. What they are mourning is not the external part of the person. The way a person looked, the way a person dressed, but the essential person. They miss the distinct personality characteristics of this person, how he or she acted, or how he or she related to us, or, let's give it an example. They recall the special qualities that the deceased had and their relationship with him or her. When they sit Shiva, they try to concentrate on the inner person who is no longer in 3D, and not the external appearance of the deceased person. As they begin to remind themselves of the special aspect of the deceased and the reminiscence about the person, they bring that fine and unique aspect of the dead person into their personality in a minuscule manner. They activate the desire that should too acquire this positive character quality and that it should not disappear with the passing of the person. As they recall the particular fine qualities of that person, they assimilate a small part of that person into their essence. Now, because the 3D world is obsessed with externalities, which is the external, what you look like or whatever, appearance is touted as the key to success. Driving the correct automobile gives others the message that people possess a certain character, which people strive to obtain. They have developed into a society that pushes external manifestations of achievement over the actual achievement itself. Much of what is done in today's society is geared to impress either the girls, the man, the boss, the relatives, or the neighbors. They are just constantly being subject to advertisement, television programs, merchandising, pushing the external manifestations of success. Is this success life really purchasing a fancy and expensive sports car? Is success making it and being seen with a beautiful girl? Is success in life having much money? Or is it really dependent on the perfection of the human personality and accompanying character traits? And this is from jewishmag.com and then /140mag/Mira_morning/Mira_morning HTM. All right. When they sit in Shiva, I'm saying they because there's a lot of it say we. When they sit in Shiva, they do not focus on the automobile that the deceased drove, nor the clothing that he or she wore. They try to focus on the good of the person accomplished in his or her life. They speak about the help the deceased rendered to needy people. They talk about special character qualities that made his or her personality unique. The mirror is about the opposite of this. The mirror is about focusing on ourselves. The mirror is for emphasizing the external being. The mirror is almost the opposite of the purpose of life. Therefore, it is only fitting that mirrors be covered up in the house of the mourners. This is a message that they can take, that people can take with themselves far beyond the borders of limitation of the house of mourning. This is an important message that should be taken with people from the house of mourning into the real world. This concept is the essence of life and ironically to be found in the house of death. I'm going to close that and I'm going to go to another page. Why after death do you have to cover the mirrors in the house and can't go in for like a week? Okay, this is part of a very old superstition. This is the person who is talking. They managed to find a large amount of information for you regarding this, which they have posted below. The Victorians had a lot of superstitions associated with death. When there was a corpse in the house, you had to cover all the mirrors. It is believed that the mirrors reflected your soul, and at death, the soul of the loved one was near. So many ominous things could happen. To see your reflection in the mirror is to see your own soul, which is why a vampire without a soul has no reflection. If a couple catches sight of each other in a mirror, they will live a happy marriage. Any mirrors in a room where someone has recently died must be covered so that the dead person's soul does not get trapped behind the glass. Superstition has it that the devil invited mirrors for this very purpose. It is bad luck to see your face in the mirror when sitting by candlelight. Before mirrors in ancient societies, if you caught sight of your reflection or dreamed of it, you will soon die. Someone seeing their reflection in a room where someone has recently died will die soon themselves. This is their belief. The origins of covering the mirror are rooted in the Jewish religion and their aspect for the dead when sitting shiva. It is proper to cover the mirrors with sheets or fog spray provided by the funeral home in the shiva house for the following reasons. During shiva, the mourner is striving to ignore his or her own physicality and vanity in order to concentrate on the reality of being a soul. A mirror represents social acceptance through the enhancement of one's appearance. Jewish mourning is supposed to be lonely, silent, dwelling on one's personal loss. Covering the mirrors symbolizes the withdrawal from society's gaze. Prayer services commonly held in the Shiva house cannot take place in front of a mirror. When they pray, they focus on God and not themselves. Physical relations between a husband and wife are suspended during the week of Shiva, and thus the need for physical beauty is removed. Okay. Then I pulled up some things called the ABCs of mourning. From the time of death until the conclusion of the funeral, the primary focus and concern is the care of the deceased and the burial preparations. The care of the departed soul burial, the urology, and the actual burial are done to honor the one who has died and not to comfort the mourners. However, once Shiva begins, the focus shifts to the mourners. The mourners experience a week of intense grief, and the community there to love and comfort and provide for their needs. This is a crucial point, for one must feel a heart-wrenching pain of grief and loss. It should be done at a time when all those around are there to help and comfort. People are confused as to how to sit Shiva and how to properly pay Shiva call. Because people do not know, and because talking about death makes people nervous and awkward, the Shiva house often turns into a festive gathering filled with nervous chatter instead of the proper house mourning. The laws of mourning have purpose of focus a person on their own spirituality. They experience an overall feeling of physical discomfort, and they totally focus on the soul of the one who has departed. They de-emphasize their own physicality by not pampering their bodies, so that they remember that what they are missing at this time is not the physical person who is gone, but the essence of who that person was, which of course is their soul. The overall focus throughout the week is, I am a soul, my loved one is a soul. Okay. And then they light a memorial candle while they're doing this. A person's soul is compared to a flame, since each person brings light into the world. And just as one can take from a flame of light more candles without diminishing the original flame, so too a person can give him or herself, touching many lives without ever being diminished. The wick and the flame are also compared to the body and the soul, and the strong bond between them. I apologize. Okay. And just as a soul always strives upward for what is good and right, so too a flame burns toward the heavens. Thus, the memorial candle is lit in the Shiva house and remains burning publicly 24 hours per day throughout an entire week. When you look at the candle, remember that your loved one's soul is eternal. This thought can help bring light into the darkness which the person which you are now immersed. Then they have chairs. This people sitting Shiva are required to sit low as a sign of mourning. The house often provides chairs with shortened legs for this purpose. One can also remove the cushions of the couch or the chair and use that. Some have a custom of actually sitting on the floor. This is a physical symbol of loneliness and depression that the mourner fears. Let's see. Mirrors. Back to the mirrors. All right. We've already talked about the reality of that person being the soul. The mirror represents social acceptance and enhancement of one appearance. We talked about that. And covering the mirror symbolizes this withdrawal from society's gaze. Physical relationships, so we talked about that. Now they talk about shoes, which is very awkward. The mourner should wear either stockings or feet slippers not made of leather. This symbolizes again the disregard for vanity and physical comfort. Wow. When one is mourning, also refrains from the following: bathing or showering for pleasure, or can do so for you can only do so for cleanliness. Waking up and anointing with creams and perfume, etc. Getting a haircut, and that applies for the first 30 days. Mourning for a parent applies longer. Nail trimming, wearing freshly laundry garments, unless the clothes become soiled. Underwear and socks may be changed. Wearing new clothes, washing clothes, material relations. Immediately upon returning from a cemetery after burial and before entering the Shiva house, the mourners and anyone else attended the burial perform a ceremonial washing of the hands using hand stations provided by the funeral home or buckets and a cup. One has come in contact with death. It is proper to pour water 3 times over each hand, altering the hands each time in order to focus on life. Water is the source of all life. Thus, they pour it over their hands as a physical act that has spiritual ramifications. And they talk about how they eat in condolence. And they talk about the type of food that they eat, which is bread, considered to be the substance of life. Hard-boiled eggs, which is a food that is round, like the circle of life. Cooked vegetables or lentils, because lentils are round. And Shiva's 7-day period. We already talked about the week. And then we already discussed all of that. And they talk about how you're supposed to comfort the mourner. This is some really deep stuff. But just the way that they talk about mirrors, really, it's just crazy. So I'm going to close with that. I hope that shed some light on mirrors. You know, I'm going to make another video. Until then, I'll see y'all later.